Alright guys, it's time for a re-up with a healthy dose of everyone's favourite mind-altering substance, cosmic horror. And thankfully for all of us involved, I'll be piloting this strange, cosmically bound vessel through the vast and incomprehensible vistas of horror cinema. The thing is, whilst this may be familiar, this list is going to be a little bit difficult, considering the fact that it's no well-kept secret that we're massive fans of cosmic horror over here at Top 5 Scary Videos. So much so that there's not a lot left for us to cover, be it Lovecraft or just genuinely underrated horror movies. But we like a challenge, so let's see what we can do. Hello horror fans, what's going on? And once again, welcome back to the Scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. As per usual, I'll be your horror host Jack Finches. Today we curiously take a look at the top 5 scariest cosmic horror movies. Roll the clip.
Let me show you.
My word, that scene gets me every single time, but for the curious amongst you, of course, that clip was from 1997's Event Horizon, which in many ways, whilst being a fan fiction precursor to the Warhammer 40k universe, as well as being a hypothetical kickstart of the Hellraiser franchise, Event Horizon is the very definition of cosmic horror. But this list is long and endless, and we're only going to be able to do this by featuring the best of the best. Hey, listen, this one isn't going to be easy, so honourable mentions go to Event Horizon, The Mist, The Prince of Darkness, Coherence, Spiral, John Dies at the End, The Cabin in the Woods, Black Mountain Side, The Endless. Yeah, this list really does go on and on. Kicking off at number 5, The Void. We cannot make this list without featuring 2016's The Void somewhere on it, and still, strangely enough, I don't know why, but this film gets brushed off as a terrible example of dialogue, set design, characterization and just screenwriting in general, that I'm starting to think that someone, somewhere, has a massive grudge against this movie and they're leading some bizarre slandering campaign against it. Also, as a side note, because I'm not trying to defend the plot of this movie, because truthfully, I don't think it needs defending because it's awesome, but one of my favourite new tidbits of information is to look at this movie as a sequel to a movie that never got made. Really, because if you play along with that, this is like watching Halloween 2 without knowing what Halloween 1 is or what even happened. And if that's the case, for me anyway, it makes the whole incomprehensible cosmic horoscope even greater. Really, the whole point of cosmic horror is to orchestrate a fear of the unknown. And yeah, guys, that's The Void. Also, this film is just gorgeous and has some of the greatest physical effects of this decade. I'm just saying. Written and directed by Steven Kostanski and Jeremy Gillespie, The Void is essentially a horror movie under siege from a maligned cosmic horror death cult in the only place where such a movie like that could ever plausibly take place, a hospital. It begins with local deputy Daniel Carter finding James, a character that has just fled the supposed imprisonment of the aforementioned cosmic cult, who is covered in blood and crawling on the roadside. Obviously, as you do, Deputy Carter takes him to the local hospital where his estranged wife Allison works. They're joined by Dr. Powell, Nurse Beverly, Kim the intern, a pregnant patient named Maggie, her grandfather Ben, and a pretty bum out of luck patient, Cliff. And well, that's all the components that we would ever need should any of those previously mentioned characters suddenly develop a strange urge to burst at the seams and then start flaying people's faces off, presumably under the cosmic influence of a terrifying, triangular, black pyramid empire. Honestly, I don't want to say any more in fear of ruining this gem of a movie, but start to finish, this is one of the finest examples of cosmic horror captured on recent film. If someone ever tells you that this film sucked, then tell them to be quiet. They're wrong. Swinging in at number 4, Banshee Chapter, 2013.
Can't see anything.
Okay, two things that go together better than an awkward handshake and a strangely limbed cultist are the two particular narrative devices in question here: cosmic horror and mind-altering chemical substances, particularly dimethyltryptamine and maybe like the Heidi's star cluster, but that's just my best guess. I don't really know, my directions are off. The thing is, you may have been aware of this movie, 2013's Banshee Chapter, and been bogged down by its gung-ho use of jump scares, but that's not why this movie is here. This movie is here because it's one of the most successful horror movies of recent times to accurately portray the mind-altering gravitas of the cosmic horror genre. It's difficult to pin down because you could argue, why aren't Jacob's Ladder or Altered States part of that niche? And well, I'd say that's a good question, but whilst those films skirt around the edges of truth and non-truth, Banshee Chapter gives no such ambiguity. That mind is a terrifying place, particularly if it's in lieu of a species from another dimension, but I think I've said too much already. Written and directed by Blair Erickson and produced by Zachary Quinto. Yes, that's Zachary Quinto. Banshee Chapter is a found footage piece that tells the tale of James Hurst, played by Michael McMillan, a young amateur sleuth who is in investigative pursuit of Project MK Ultra. Yes, that one. As part of that research, he decides to take the same drug used in the MK Ultra experiments, DMT-19, and whilst his friend films his reaction, soon a bizarre musical hum and strange voices begin to broadcast themselves from a nearby radio, announcing that something or someone is coming towards the house and that it wants to wear them. Yes, I did just say wear them. We'll probably stop there in fear of spoilers because seriously, when this movie gets going, it really goes the distance and you'll have to certainly hold on to your own mind in fear of crumbling into the dark pit of infinity, aka the pineal gland. Yeah, you're correct. This film is based on Lovecraft's 1920 short story From Beyond and also pretty much a recombobulation of the 1986 Stuart Gordon film of the same name, but that doesn't make it any less awesome. This one well and truly hit the nail on the head. Next up at number 3, In the Mouth of Madness, 1995.
Missing. Huh? Sutter Kane.
Do you read Sutter Kane? And listen guys, I could stand here all day with a smile on my face and that could probably suffice for this particular number 3 entry, but really, I'm sure that we can all hold this film up in the highest of regard as one of the finest examples of not only cosmic horror, but metafictional, physical, maybe, horror. You see, John Carpenter is a genuinely sublime filmmaker and he took all of the key components laid out by Lovecraft and decided to retroactively fit his own form into cosmic horror. In many ways, I like to think of In the Mouth of Madness as a greatest hits version of everything that makes the strange and the bizarre tick. And so you may be thinking, why the hell is it only number 3 then? Shut up, Jack. And whilst my response to that is our final 2 entries are as close to cosmic horror perfection as it can come, this one is perhaps the gatekeeper. Although it will just take a moment or two of folding your own existence upon itself and then being chased down a corridor of unspeakable horror. But that would be spoilers, wouldn't it? So let's not do that. Written by Michael DeLuca and forming the 3rd and final installment of John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, In the Mouth of Madness tells the tale of John Trent, played by the brilliant Sam Neill, a freelance insurance investigator who is tasked with investigating a claim by a New York-based literary giant, Arcane Publishing. Eventually, after being attacked at lunch by an agent with an axe, Trent is informed of the disappearance of Arcane Publishing's biggest asset, Sutter Kane, a horror novelist who has taken the world by storm and has seemingly slipped off the face of Earth after writing his final manuscript for his final novel. And as the case gradually unravels itself, Trent laughs off the claims that Sutter Kane's novels can cause disorientation, memory loss, and even hysteria in less stable readers. Do you read Sutter Kane? Of course he doesn't, not yet anyway. Listen, we'll stop there in fear of spoilers, but really guys, if you haven't been able to decipher by now, In the Mouth of Madness is one of the finest cosmic horror movies ever made, and I'm not entirely sure whether even it knows it. Coming in at number 2, Annihilation, 2018.
Okay, so we know what happened to the last group. They went insane.
There is something about Oscar Isaac's demeanour in that scene that truly disturbs me, and believe me guys, that isn't even the half of it. In fact, that's just the beginning. Now you may be scratching your head a little bit and questioning as to how 2018's Annihilation can reach such lofty heights so quickly, but guys, I'm fairly certain that when it comes to cosmic horror, this movie is near perfection. Perhaps it's down to the framing of the movie itself, or perhaps it's the absolutely brilliant source material that is based upon Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy. Maybe it's the physical effects, maybe it's the genuinely awesome use of CGI in this movie, which is rare. I don't know guys, but Annihilation strikes a chord somewhere. It's a puzzle of a movie, and every single frame offers something uniquely disturbing. That one feeling that chimes louder than any other emotion when facing down cosmic horror. Confusion. But not in the contrived sense, because really, narratively and visually, this film is incredibly straightforward to follow, but the small, strange pit stops in between, I haven't got a clue. Annihilation scares me in a way that few horror movies do. It's the incomprehension of it that somehow wraps its tentacles around your mind. And also, it's such a pretty picture that it's damn near impossible to look away from. Take note, Eldritch Overlords. Or actually, don't. Written and directed by Alex Garland and based upon the 2014 novel of the same name by Jeff Vandermeer, Annihilation tells the tale of a strange landscape at the edge of the southern United States, an anomalous zone known as the Shimmer, that after a strange meteor landed off the coast of a lighthouse 3 years prior to the event of the movie, began to cause some increasingly perplexing biological occurrences. It stars Natalie Portman as Lena, a member of one of the exploratory expeditions tasked with investigating the zone, and after her husband's group goes missing, she heads on in alongside her own crew. A psychologist, Dr. Dr. Ventress, a physicist, Josie, a geomorphologist, Cass, and a paramedic, Anya. And believe me, they're going to need all of the expertise that they can muster. I don't want to say any more about this plot because once you're in, you're in. And watching this movie for the first time is the closest that you'll come to unbridled cosmic confusion horror. Pure, untapped, unexplainable, I don't even know. You'll be thinking about this film long after you finish watching it, and it certainly takes a hold of you. And finally, coming in at number 1 spot, The Thing, 1982. And this is the part of the episode where I talk about how you wouldn't be expecting this movie and then trying to justify why it's here, yada yada yada. But listen guys, I know that in the past I've deliberately left off The Thing down to the credit that it has already garnered because it's one of the best films ever made. But when we hold it up to this list in particular, there is no other movie that could take the number 1 spot. The Thing is the definition of cosmic horror. It checks all the boxes, every anomalous detail, every extra tendril and elongated spine, every strange, horrifying, otherworldly scream from the begotten corners of space hell and damnation, and all of the creatures that it consumed along the way. And then some. It goes the distance, through time and space, and yet John Carpenter's The Thing never shows us all of the cosmic significance that this movie suggests. We never once take our eye off the fact that we literally know nothing about the creature in question. In fact, we probably know more about Azathoth and Cthulhu than we do about The Thing, and the sole reason is why this is the greatest cosmic horror movie ever made. I mean, also, there are 1,000 other reasons, but hey, we've got to talk about the Bennings in the room first, because frankly, I don't trust anyone in this room. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You see, The Thing isn't just about a horrifying unknown entity that has crash landed in the Antarctic and begins to feast on a remote way station. It's far more than that. It could have been that, and it probably would have still been a different movie, but The Thing is deeper than that. It's psychological. It's a story about paranoia and mistrust, and it's about how quickly the bonds of loyalty and trust can be frayed by an outside source. Admittedly, none of us would ever really stand a chance when facing down The Thing, but yeah, that goes without saying. I don't need to tell you anything about this movie from a narrative perspective, because if you haven't yet seen it, stop what you're doing and go and watch the greatest cosmic horror movie ever made, if not the greatest horror movie ever made. Yeah, that's all there is to it. The Thing, number 1. Of course. Well, there we have it, horror fans. Our list for the top 5 scariest cosmic horror movies. What do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree? Have any more to add? Then let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Before we depart from today's video though, let's first take a quick look at some of your more creative comments from over the past few days. First up, the son of Dormammu says, I found some really good movies from watching this series. Love your channel. Hey, thank you very, very much. And tell your old man Dormammu I said hello. And finally, Demon Phoenix says, thanks to this channel I have an expert level degree in monster hunting. And rightfully so. You've all earned it. Your diplomas will be in the mail soon. I hope. Did I send them off? Well, there we have it. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for in today's video. Cheers for sticking around all the way until the end. If you were a fan of this video or just top 5 scary videos in general, then please be a dear, hit that thumbs up button, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. As you can tell, I've got a pretty terrible code. Code? Sake! As you can tell, I've got a pretty terrible cold. Hopefully I'll be feeling what am I doing? As per usual, I've been your horror host, Jack Finch. You've been watching top 5 scary videos. And until next time, just take it easy. Thanks.